The cabin stood alone at the edge of the dark forest, wooden walls trembling every time the wind whispered across the valley. But today, it wasn't the wind shaking the cabin. It was something else. Something alive. Something scared. Inside the dim room, a sudden scream tore through the silence. My legs. They're still shaking from last night. What did you do to me? Her voice was sharp, trembling, filled with both fear and anger. The alien woman, Lyrina, pushed herself up from the metal bed, her glowing blue hair falling in front of her eyes as she struggled to breathe. Her body shook violently, like a storm trapped inside her muscles. The strange markings on her skin flickered, dimming and brightening in confused pulses, and standing near the door, frozen like a man facing a wild animal, was Evan Dot, just an ordinary human Dot, just a man who had walked into the forest last night and returned, carrying an alien woman who looked half dead. He had no idea what happened. No idea how he got back here. No idea why she was screaming. He lifted his hands slowly. I didn't do anything. I swear, I found you in the forest. You touched my core. She snapped, her voice cracking. No human should even survive that, let alone make my legs shake like this. Evan blinked, confused. Your what? Your core? Is that like your heart or something? Her eyes widened, almost insulted, almost terrified. Heart? No. My core is everything. My strength. My life. My lineage. Only bonded partners or royal guardians can touch it. Humans touching it should die instantly. But you, she pointed at him with a trembling finger. You carried me. You survived. And my core reacted to you. He took a cautious step backward. I didn't touch anything. I just picked you up. You were hurt. Her breath quickened. That is how it touches. Through the chest. Through skin. Through energy. You shouldn't even be standing. Humans are too weak for core contact. Evan looked down at himself. Normal clothes, normal hands, no glowing marks, no weird wounds. Well, I'm alive. I'm pretty sure I'm normal. Her trembling grew stronger. She tried to stand, gripping the bed for support, but her legs collapsed again. She fell forward, and Evan rushed to catch her before she hit the floor. The moment his hands touched her arms, the room flashed bright blue. A shockwave pulsed outward. Every object in the cabin rattled. The metal bed dented as though invisible weight crushed it. Lyrina gasped and shoved herself away from him. Don't touch me, she cried. Your energy. It stabilizes me. It forces my core to respond. I don't understand how. Humans are not compatible. Evan stepped back again, swallowing hard. Can you explain what's going on? Just slowly, please. But she wasn't listening. She stared at him like she was seeing a ghost. You shouldn't exist, she whispered. Not like this. Not with this. Connection. Outside, the forest growled. Not animal, something heavier. Something deliberate. Branches snapped under massive feet. The walls of the cabin shook again, but not from her power this time. Evan turned to the window. A shadow moved between the trees, tall, thick, many legs. Lyrina, he said quietly. Is something out there? The alien woman's eyes went wide with panic. They followed me, she whispered. I released too much core energy last night. The hunters traced it. They're coming. They'll kill me to contain the energy overload. Then her eyes slowly lifted to him. And they'll kill you too. Because you survived touching me. Evan felt cold fear crawl up his spine. Why me? I didn't do anything. They don't care. She tried to stand again, clutching the bed. They protect core laws. And breaking the law means death. You touching me is forbidden. He took a step toward her. Then let me help you move. We can run. No. Her voice was sharp, breathless. If you touch me again, the core reaction will get stronger. I can barely control it. It can destroy both of us." Outside, the footsteps came closer, slow, heavy, unhurried, like the creature knew exactly where they were. Evan tried to steady his breathing. "You're telling me they're coming to kill us? And I can't even help you stand?" She shut her eyes tight, sweat dripping down her temple. "You can help, but only if you listen carefully." A branch snapped loudly outside the door. Lyrina whispered, "Come to me. But don't touch my core point." "My what?" She pointed weakly to the center of her chest, the glowing symbol beneath the collarbone. "If you touch it, you will trigger the bond fully. And neither of us will survive that right now." Evan moved carefully, sliding his hands under her arms to lift her. A soft glow appeared again, but this time weaker, controlled. Lyrina's shaking slowed. She managed to stand, leaning on him heavily. Her voice was soft. "Your energy. It balances mine. It calms the overload." He almost laughed at the absurdity. "I still don't know what any of that means." "You will. If we survive." A claw scraped down the wooden door. Evan jumped. "They're right outside." Lyrina forced her legs to straighten. She looked stronger barely, but her glow was fading fast. She reached for his hand but stopped inches away. "You must not fear me. Fear disrupts core balance." "I'm not afraid of you," he said honestly. "Just everything else." She looked at him with surprise, a kind of fragile gratitude. Door cracked inward, wood splintered. Deep growl echoed through the cabin. Something enormous pushed on the other side. A skeletal mask. Glowing red eyes. Thick armor. And claws long enough to gut a bear. Lyrina whispered, "The hunters." Evan held her tighter, steadying her as her knees weakened again. The creature spoke in a deep, echoing voice. "We sensed Forbidden's core contact. Hand over the human." Evan felt Lyrina stiffen. She stepped in front of him even though she could barely stand. "No," she said, her voice shaking but determined. "He did nothing. I was the one who reached out. Take me if you must. But leave him." The hunter laughed a low, cruel sound. "You know the law. Humans who touch the core must die." Evan grabbed a metal rod from the corner, holding it like a weapon. "You'll have to go through me." The hunter took a step closer. "That can be arranged." Lyrina's hand shot out and grabbed Evan's wrist by instinct. The moment her skin touched his, the entire room exploded in blue light. The hunter staggered back. Evan felt a wave of heat rush through him. His vision blurred. The glow from Lyrina's body merged with his. Her trembling stopped completely. Her legs steadied. The hunter snarled. "Core resonance. Between a human and a royal-blooded female? Impossible." Evan gasped. What's happening?" Lyrina looked at him with trembling shock. "You unlocked part of my core. Again. Just like last night." "Last night?" Evan repeated. "What happened last night?" Her eyes softened with fear and confusion. "I don't know. I only remember collapsing. And then your hands pulling me close. The core opened on its own. It reacted to something in you. Something impossible." The hunter roared and rushed toward them. Lyrina pulled Evan closer to steady the power flow. "Hold my hand," she whispered urgently. "What?" "Why? Because if you don't, I will fall. And he will kill you first." Evan grabbed her hand. The blue glow intensified. The hunter swung his massive claw toward Evan's face. A shockwave burst from Evan's body. The claw never reached him. The hunter was thrown backward into the wall, cracking it like thin glass. Silence. Lyrina stared at Evan like he was something holy. You reflect my core energy. You amplify it. Humans can't do that." Evan dropped the metal rod, stunned. "I'm not doing anything. I just don't want to die. Lyrina struggled to speak. Then listen. And don't let go. My core is unstable. Last night it overloaded. I remember screaming. Everything shaking. Light everywhere. And then, your arms around me as everything went dark, so I saved you. He asked, You saved me from myself. She whispered. Another roar echoed outside. More hunters. Dozens. They surrounded the cabin. Lyrana's voice trembled. Part of the core awakened last night. They will not leave until I am dead. And until you are erased. Evan tightened his grip on her hand. Then we fight. She looked at him with something new in her eyes, hope. Disbelief, fear, all at once. You don't understand, she said softly. Your touch stabilizes me. But if we trigger the full core bond now, even by accident, the explosion could wipe out half the forest. Evan whispered, So what do we do? Lyrina looked toward the back wall of the cabin. We run. He nodded. Let's go. She grabbed his hand tighter. And for the first time since she woke up, her legs stopped shaking. But outside, the forest lit up with hundreds of red eyes. The hunters were already closing in, and the night had only just begun. The glow around Evan and Lyrina slowly faded as the first hunter rose from the cracked wall, its armor dented from the shockwave Evan had somehow produced. The cabin was falling apart. Wooden beams creaked. Dust fell from the ceiling, and the cracked windows rattled as more hunters approached from the forest. Branches snapped. Deep growls echoed. Red eyes circled the cabin like wolves closing in on wounded prey. Lyrina squeezed Evan's hand tightly. Her breathing uneven, her legs still slightly trembling, even though the core reaction had steadied her a moment ago. Evan, if they trap us inside, we're done. He nodded quickly, glancing around for anything useful. Is there another exit? A back door? She shook her head. No, but there's a weak wall behind the storage crates. If we channel a small burst, we can break it. Evan blinked. Channel a burst? Lyrina, I don't even know what I'm doing. You don't have to know, she said sharply. Just hold my hand and don't think about fear. Easy for you to say, he muttered. She shot him a tired look. I'm terrified too. A loud slam hit the front door, cracking it inward a few inches. Dust rained from the hinges. That was all the warning they needed. Lyrina pulled him toward the back, nearly stumbling. Her body trembled again, not as violently as before, but enough to show that she was still unstable. Evan caught her waist with one arm to steady her, and the core glow flickered between them again like faint lightning. A small, soft pulse of energy flowed from her into him, and then back to her. She exhaled slowly. That's it, she whispered. You stabilize me without meaning to. I still don't understand how that's possible. No one does. Not even me. Another slam. The door bent further inward. Lyrina snapped her attention to the crates. Stand behind me. But keep holding on. Evan nodded and tightened his grip on her hand. She raised her free hand toward the wall. A spark of blue energy grew in her palm, flickering weakly at first, then brighter as Evan's presence steadied her. She whispered under her breath, Balance. Just enough. The pulse fired. With a loud crack, the old wooden wall shattered outward, broken pieces flying into the grass behind the cabin. Cold air rushed in. Moonlight spilled into the room. Evan didn't have time to admire it. The front door exploded inward. 4 hunters stormed inside at once. Their red eyes glowing, claws ready, weapons humming with deadly energy. Go! Lyrina shouted. Evan pulled her through the broken opening as fast as he could. She nearly stumbled twice, but each time she pressed closer to him, relying on his steady energy to keep her core stable enough to run. The forest outside was dark. Too dark. Clouds covered the moon. The tall alien trees towered overhead with thick, twisted branches that hid the sky. Behind them, the hunters roared. Branches snapped. Heavy footsteps thundered after them. Evan's heart pounded, but adrenaline pushed him forward. Lirana guided him with short, breathless instructions. Left down the slope. Careful, roots. Don't let go. He held her hand tighter. I won't. They slid down a steep hill, dirt and loose stones carrying them downward. Lirana gasped in pain when her knee hit a root, but Evan wrapped an arm around her waist again, pulling her close. A bright burst of blue core energy flared between them. What was that? He yelled, instinct. She shouted back. The core is reacting to fear and danger. I'm trying to control it. You're doing great. I'm barely standing. Behind them, a hunter leapt down the slope, landing with enough force to crack the earth. It roared and sprinted after them, moving on all fours like a giant armored predator. Lirana turned and fired a weak pulse of core energy. The burst hit the hunter square in the chest, but it barely slowed the creature. It's not enough. She whispered. My core is damaged. I can't fight at full strength. Evan looked at her. Then what do we do? She stared into his eyes for a moment, her glowing markings flickering dangerously. We trust the bond. I don't know what that means. Neither do I. But it keeps us alive. That's enough. They kept running. Branches whipped against Evan's arms. Leaves slapped their faces. Shadows moved between the trees. He could hear more hunters closing in from every direction. How many are there? He grunted. Dozens, Lirana whispered. Maybe more. Great. Excellent. Perfect. Evan muttered sarcastically. Don't be sarcastic now. She snapped. Sorry, stress reflex. Humans have weird reflexes. They kept running, but the forest was getting darker, thicker. The glowing insects vanished. The normal animals were silent. Even the wind stopped. Evan slowed for half a second. Lirana. Something feels wrong. She nodded, her eyes scanning the trees. This part of the forest is forbidden. Even hunters avoid it unless they're desperate. Why? Because nothing here is alive. Evan gulped. We should turn around. No. She shook her head firmly. If we go back, they'll catch us. If we go forward, they won't follow immediately. That gives us time. Time for what? Time to reach the river. She pointed deeper into the dark. The river hides core energy. They can't track us if we reach the water. Then let's move. But as they stepped forward, a chilling growl echoed somewhere far behind them. A signal. A call. Lirana's body tensed. They found our trail again. They're coming. Evan grabbed her hand tighter. Then we move faster. I'm not dying tonight. She looked at him with a faint smile. Good, because if you die, my core dies too. He blinked. Wait, what? No time to explain. They ran again. The forest floor became uneven, large rocks, twisted roots, and narrow animal paths. Lirana stumbled more often now, her body shaking with exhaustion. Evan lifted her arm over his shoulder, supporting her weight. Every time their bodies pressed together, the faint core light flickered between them. Evan, she whispered, out of breath, you're helping me too much. That's a good thing. No, it makes the bond deeper. If the bond completes before we can control it. She swallowed hard. It could kill us both. If letting go kills us, and holding on kills us, then what are we supposed to do? Balance. She gasped. Just balance. Evan almost laughed despite the danger. That's not helpful. It's all I have. Another roar. Branches snapped behind them. A hunter burst into view, larger, faster, more heavily armored. The leader. The High Hunter. Its mask glowed bright crimson. It spoke, its voice filled with hatred. Human, stop running. Your existence violates core law. You will be erased. Evan yelled back, not today. The High Hunter leapt at them. Lirana acted on pure instinct. She pulled Evan close and spun them both. Raising her free hand, a massive core blast erupted. A sphere of blue energy expanded outward like a shock wave. The forest floor trembled. Leaves burned. Rocks cracked. And the High Hunter was thrown back 50 feet, crashing into a massive tree, snapping it in half. The blast nearly knocked Evan off his feet. He stumbled, clutching Lirina tightly. "Lirina, you okay?" She panted heavily. "That was too much. I can't do that again. My core, fading." He saw her knees buckle. No, stay with me." He lifted her chin. "We're almost there. Tell me where the river is." She pointed weakly. "Just ahead. I can feel the water's presence. Hurry." He wrapped her arm tighter over his shoulders and half carried her through the tangled roots and rocks. The hunter behind them roared again. It was getting back up. Forest vibrated with its fury. Lirina trembled violently. "Evan, if they catch us at the river, they'll kill me first." "No," he said firmly. "Not while I'm breathing." "You don't understand," she whispered. "Even if the hunters fail, if my core overloads again, I won't survive another surge." He looked at her face, pale glowing markings dimming, sweat dripping down her temples. "You're not dying," he said. "Not tonight. Not ever. I'll carry you if I have to." A faint smile touched her lips. Humans, always dramatic. Only when running for our lives. He shot back. Then, finally he heard it. Water. Fast. Rushing. The river. Lirina's eyes widened. "We made it." Evan picked up speed. The trees opened into a wide clearing. A huge glowing river cut through the valley, water shining silver in the moonlight. Strange floating lights bobbed above the surface. Lirina sagged against him with relief. "The water will mask us. The hunters can't track my core through this current. If they can't track us, does that mean we're safe?" "No," she whispered. "Only hidden." The High Hunter roared behind them. Evan dragged Lirina toward the water's edge. Come on, just a little more." But the moment they reached the shore, Lirina's legs buckled completely. Her entire body trembled violently. "Evan, the core, it's destabilizing again." He knelt with her, holding her close. "Tell me what to do." She gasped, clutching his shirt. "I need your energy to stabilize. But not too much. If we trigger the bond fully before we reach the water, just tell me. Put your hand on my back. Not the core point. Just my back." He did. A hum vibrated through the air. Her markings glowed softly. Her breathing steadied. But the High Hunter emerged from the trees, huge, furious, unstoppable. It raised its spear. Lirina whispered, "Evan, run, save yourself." He grabbed her tighter. "No, you'll die." "Then I'll die holding on to you." Lirina stared at him, stunned, terrified. And something else. The High Hunter charged. Evan lifted Lirina in his arms. And ran into the river. Freezing water swallowed them. The High Hunter roared in rage. And the core light around them vanished beneath the shadows of the deep. The freezing waters swallowed Evan and Lirina, dragging them below the surface as the roar of the High Hunter faded behind them. The river's current was stronger than Evan expected. It pulled them deeper, spinning them around as dark shapes slid past in the rushing water. The cold stabbed at his skin like thousands of needles. Evan tightened his grip around Lirina, keeping her head close to his shoulder to protect her from the violent current. Her body trembled in his arms, but the core glow around her dimmed until it disappeared, completely hidden by the river's energy. Above the water, the High Hunter's shadow moved along the bank, pacing, searching. But it couldn't sense them anymore. The river masked their presence exactly as Lirina said. Evan kicked his legs, pushing upward, but the current forced them sideways instead of up. He needed to breathe soon. Lyrina weakly lifted one hand and pointed toward a cluster of dark rocks nearby. Their shapes barely visible through the water. He followed her gesture, letting the current carry them toward the shadowy area. At last, a small calm patch appeared where the water slowed. He broke through the surface with a gasp, dragging Lyrina close and pulling her toward a half-submerged cave hidden behind a curtain of vines. They slipped inside. The cave was dark, narrow, and silent, except for the slow drip of water from the ceiling. Evan carefully lowered Lyrina onto a dry ledge inside the cave. Her glowing markings were faint, flickering like dying embers. "Lyrina," he whispered, brushing wet hair away from her face. "Talk to me, please." She opened her eyes slowly. I'm alive. Only because of you." He sat beside her, breathing hard. "But you don't look stable." "No," she admitted, voice soft and broken. "The core is almost empty. I barely held it together long enough to reach the river. I cannot fight anymore. I cannot run anymore." Evan swallowed hard. "Then we hide until it's safe." She stared at him for a long moment, almost as though memorizing his face. When she finally spoke, her voice was trembling. "It will not be safe. Not for me. Not for you." He clenched his fists. "Why not?" "The bond," she whispered. "The connection between our energies. It's changing, fast." He frowned. "What does that even mean? Tell me the truth this time." Lyrina took a shaky breath, pressing a weak hand against her chest where the core symbol pulsed faintly. "The core is not a power source," she said softly. "It is a living part of my soul. My emotions. My strength. My memories. When someone touches it, they become connected to me." Evan blinked. "Connected how?" She hesitated. Then she whispered two words that changed everything. "Life-bound." Evan felt his breath stop, like the world itself paused. "Life. Bound? Yes." Her eyes glowed faintly in the dim cave. "If one dies, the other follows. Instantly." Silence filled the cave, thick and heavy. Evan sat frozen, staring at her. "So last night, when you collapsed, and I held you, you triggered the first stage of the bond," she confirmed softly. "The core opened to you completely. I didn't choose it. It chose you." He shook his head slowly. "So my energy stabilizes you. Because we're linked now?" "Yes. And I draw strength from you without meaning to. Your presence heals me. Your fear destabilizes me. Your calm strengthens me." Evan rubbed his face, trying to process it. "So the reason you survived last night, and the reason I'm not dead, is because something inside me matched with your core?" Lyrina nodded weakly. "That's impossible. Humans aren't supposed to react to alien energy." "But you did," she whispered. "And you didn't just react. You resonated. You created balance." He stared at his hands, normal human hands. "I'm just an ordinary man." "No," she said softly, shaking her head. "You are not ordinary. Not to my core, not to me." Her voice broke slightly at the last words. Evan moved closer, helping her sit more comfortably. "Lyrina, what happens now?" Before she could answer, a faint tremor shook the cave. Small stones fell from above. The water outside rippled. The hunters were searching nearby. Lyrina tensed. "We don't have much time." Evan glanced toward the cave opening, seeing shadows pass outside. The hunters were sweeping the riverbank, scanning every corner. "We can stay hidden," he whispered. "They can't sense your core, right?" "At the moment," Lyrina said, "they can't. But if my core stabilizes even a little, they will sense a spark. They always do. So we can't stay here long." "No," Evan exhaled slowly. "Okay, then we wait for the right moment and move." Lyrina shook her head gently, her markings flickering dangerously. Evan, you don't understand. I am losing control of the core. Every moment we are together, the bond grows stronger. If it completes on its own, it could cause an explosion large enough to kill both of us. And anyone nearby. He stared at her. So even the bond is dangerous? Only because I am not strong enough to control it, she whispered. Normally, the bond is a blessing. A sacred connection. But my core is damaged, fractured. You became the stabilizer. But the core is still broken. Evan felt something pull inside his chest, a strange warm ache. Then how do we fix it? Lyrina shut her eyes for a moment before answering. There is an ancient core pool, deep in the forest. A sacred place for my people. The waters there can heal a broken core. Then let's go. Her hand weakly grabbed his arm. It's not that simple. The hunters guard the pool. They will never allow a human, especially one bonded, to reach it. Evan looked toward the cave entrance again, shadows shifting like restless spirits. We're trapped either way. But if the pool is our only chance, we go. Lyrina stared at him, eyes shimmering faintly. You don't even know me. Why fight so hard for me? Because you didn't give up on me, he said softly. Even when you thought I broke your laws. Even when you barely knew me. Her lips parted slightly, breath-catching. You saved me last night. You carried me through the forest. You held me when my core exploded. I thought I was dying. But your arms made me feel safe. He felt his heart tighten. Then I'll keep you safe. Lyrina looked down at their hands resting close, but not touching, only a few inches apart. If I touch you again, the bond could accelerate. We must be careful. Then I'll control it, he whispered. We'll control it together. She stared at his face, searching for fear. But she found none. Only determination. Before either could speak again, a heavy thud outside the cave. The High Hunter, its deep voice rumbled across the riverbed. She cannot hide forever. The bond must be erased. The human must die. Evan clenched his jaw. He's not giving up. He will never give up, Lyrina whispered. The bond between species has never happened before. To them, it is a crime. An abomination. Evan breathed slowly, calming himself so Lyrina's core wouldn't react. Then we go when he leaves. But Lyrina looked away, her expression full of guilt. What? Evan asked. There is something else. She whispered. Something I haven't told you. He stared at her. Lyrina. Tell me. She hesitated, then spoke in a trembling voice. Last night, when my core opened to you, I saw something. What did you see? A memory. But not yours. Not mine. Something older. Something powerful. The cave trembled again as the hunters shifted outside. Evan leaned closer. What was it? She whispered the truth like a secret carried by the wind. I saw a human. Long before your time. Hundreds of years ago. And he also resonated with a core. He was the first core-bound human. And he disappeared in the same forest. Evan's blood ran cold. I think you are connected to him, she continued. I think the core recognized something inside you. Something ancient. Something lost, he whispered. So I'm not the first? No, and if the hunters know, they will do anything to stop us from reaching the pool, because if your bond completes, the truth will come out, and their entire law system will break. Evan stared at her in disbelief. So the hunters want to kill us to keep a secret? Yes, Lyrina swallowed hard. To erase the history that humans combined with royal cores. He exhaled slowly. Then we cannot let them win. Lyrina's voice broke, soft and scared. Evan, if we go to the pool, you may become fully bonded to me. That means our lives, our energy, our emotions, everything will be shared. He didn't look away. I accept that. You don't understand how heavy that is. I don't need to understand, he said gently. I only need to keep you alive. For a moment, her eyes softened completely. You are strange, she whispered. Stronger than you look. He gave a faint smile. Humans are full of surprises. Before she could respond, water splashed violently outside. The High Hunter's shadow drew closer. Evan leaned in. We go now. Before he gets too close. Lyrina nodded, though her body trembled with exhaustion. He lifted her carefully. The core reacted instantly, soft blue light spreading between them. Warm and slow like a heartbeat. Lyrina gasped. Evan, the bond. I know, he whispered. I'll control it. She rested her forehead against his shoulder. Trusting him completely, the hunters moved again. Evan tightened his grip, and with the moonlight shining through the cave entrance, they stepped back into the forest. Together, bound by fate, and chased by an ancient darkness that feared the truth of what they could become.